Hey everyone, this is Sprite Fan 101. I'm here today to review the newest episode of Big Hero 6. So this episode was a fun episode. Like, it didn't focus on any heavy storytelling, but it still had that fun factor about it. So I really enjoyed that part of the episode. So going into it, you have Hiro and Baymax going in to this warehouse. They're looking for some titanium. So Hiro's walking through this warehouse. There's this little drone. It's kind of reminiscent of The Incredibles. You know how when Syndrome checks to see if Mr. Incredible is dead, he sends that drone down there to see if he can find remains. Well, yeah, it looks like that, except it's, on the ground. So he dodges that one. There's one in the sky. There's one like right above him, and he gets caught. Then all of a sudden Yama comes out, and he's like, "Hey, I know you." And he was like, "What? What? You must be mistaken." He's like, "You're that Big Hero 6 kid." He's like, yeah, that's me. I highly advise you give that titanium back." He's like, "Nope, I don't think I'll be doing that." And then this huge robot that is very reminiscent. Actually, it's not very reminiscent. It's exactly like Little Yama from the first movie. So, except he's all big now. So he tells Baymax to call for backup. So not only does he come in, but the rest of the team comes in as well. Big Yama gets stopped. Now Yama gets away, and then Wasabi's like, let's just call it a night. I'm very tired. You know what tomorrow is though, right? It's time for that. I don't remember his name, so I'm just gonna call him Nathan Fillion lookalike. So it's time for that. Tomorrow is that Nathan Fillion convention, remember? And so they get there. The entire school is there, and so they're waiting to get online. They're all like, "Ooh, Nathan Fillion's so great." And then Go-Go's like, "Nah, he's okay." That's what I love about Go-Go. She's awesome, but she could also be very condescending. I just love it. And all of a sudden, Nathan Fillion lookalike comes in. He's like, "Hey, what's up, scientists? Let's get to work. That's the spirit." And so he goes up to Hiro and like, "What's your name, boy?" And then he's like, Hiro Hamada, can you sign my thing?" He's like, "Sure thing, have an energy drink." So he signs it, goes back in. Carmi's being all condescending like she always is. Ugh. And then Hiro looks down, and and the thing that he wrote down says Kiro with a K. He's like, "Oh man." So he's about to walk in, and he gets stopped by the principal, and she's telling him that he's too young to be in here. So it's kind of like that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob's trying to get into that club, and he's like, "Hey, you're not manly enough to be in this club." And he gets put in this childish place. That's what happens here, except a little twist that we find out later on is involving the character that we see here. And it's this lady who is in charge of like this little kid science club, daycare. And so she's doing all this stuff, entertaining the kids and everything. Hiro is not having a good time. The whole time he's just not enjoying himself. Fred, however, he is having a blast. Here's the thing about Fred. He is so everything that he's been doing over the past few episodes have just been so crazy. It's nuts. And so after that, we cut back to Go-Go, Wasabi, and Honey Lemon as they're in the room with Nathan Fillion lookalike, And he's like, hey, you ready to get to work? Let's do it! And then they start working, and Carmi messes up a bit. And then he says, hey, Carmi, you have the first invitation to get ice cream outside. Go get it! So he pushes her out, closes the door, locks it. She's been officially kicked out. So they're like, so Go-Go, Wasabi, Honey Lemon are kind of they're weirded out by this. So they continue to work. Go-Go's the first one to finish, of course. Of course she is. And he's like, congratulations! And then Wasabi and Honey Lemon finish. And then he kicks everybody else out. He's like, come on guys, follow me! Follow me into this room where you'll be working. And so, after that, we cut back to Hiro, Baymax, and, well, not necessarily Fred, but just Hiro and Baymax, as they go off to investigate the museum to see what is going on in that room. So, the next thing we see, Hiro's looking through like a telescope because they're snooping around this museum thing that looked an awful lot like the Science Expo from the first movie. It looked an awful lot like that. And you know, they're snooping around, and Hiro looks through this microscope thing and sees Carmi licking some ice cream, and he's like, that's weird. So he really wants to know what's going on. So he puts Baymax up into the sky, because he's basically a balloon man. So he puts him up in the sky to basically see what's going on. And Baymax sees Go-Go, Honey, and Fred. Not Fred, Wasabi! What's going on? He sees them being put into this room with the Nathan Fillion look-alike. And he sees that Yama is outside too. So he's just standing outside this building. So obviously Hiro is like, this is not good. So he rushes over there quickly to get Fred so that they can go and save them. Now, while this is happening, they get Go-Go, Honey, and Wasabi get transferred to this room. They're working on like microchips and plasma blasters and all that. And so we don't know what they're working on this stuff for. It's not explained yet. So they're working on this stuff. Nathan Fillion look-alike is checking up on all of them. Not really Go-Go, because every time he checks up on her, he's like, get out of here, I'm in the zone. I'm telling you, man, she is just great. I'm contemplating whether on making a video on why I love Go-Go so much. I probably will do that. But yeah, so yeah, she's cool. He checks up on Honey Lemon. She's making this weird liquid thing where if you put an object in slowly, it goes in, but if you put it in fast, it breaks, which is weird. She did it on a pencil, and it was cool, but obviously it's suspicious. So he goes to Wasabi next. Then he's building this thing that blasts energy. So once this is done, and once they're all finished with their things, Hiro, Baymax, and Wasabi come in. Hey, not Wasabi, Fred. What is going on with me? Hiro, Baymax, and Fred come in to save the day. And they're like, hey, you gotta stop. He gotta stop. Nathan Fillion look-alike is working. Nathan Fillion look-alike is in danger, and so are you. Yama is outside. And so Nathan Fillion look-alike comes out, says, hey, you're not supposed to be in here. Then Yama comes out from the other door and is like, time's up. And he's like, and all the Big Hero 6 look at him, and he's like, I've got some explaining to do. So the big robot comes out. Like an explosion happens, they're looking up, and this big Big Yama 2.0 comes out. And he's all pink because, you know, Honey Lemon's liquid thing was pink. So, there you go. And so, Yama gets on Big Yama. That sounds so weird. And they fly away. And then the Big Hero 6 are all mad at Nathan Fillion lookalike because they were like, you had us build something for Yama? You were working for Yama the whole time? And he's like, oh, well, you see, he has some encrypting information placed with me, my info, so, I had to save myself. And Honey Lemon's like, that's not okay. And then Gogo realizes that, you know, he just built something to help Yama destroy Big Hero 6, which is us. So, Big Hero 6 go to stop Big Yama. And this whole entire scene reminded me of the Big Hero 6 video game. Let me see, because I don't want to get the title wrong. I've been playing it for years, and this title is still fading from my memory for some reason. Big Hero 6 Battle in the Bay. Big Hero 6 Battle in the Bay. That's what it reminded me of. Because I used to play that game all the time, and the final boss battle is where you had to, sorry about that. Sorry about the cut. So yeah, like I was saying, this whole final sequence reminded me of the Big Hero 6 Battle in the Bay final boss battle, where you had to take on Yama and Big Yama at the very end, and at the harbor. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. And so, yeah, they're fighting. Obviously, they have a hard time because they had to go in between what they did in terms of the technology aspect to fight them, because they're basically fighting with their own technology that they built. So, they're pretty much losing to Big Yama. And then all of a sudden, Hiro comes up with this idea. He's like, hey, we can use the whole chemistry thing to our advantage. So he's like, Honey Lemon, throw me 2 of your chem balls. She throws it at him. He gives it to Fred. Fred leaps, puts it into the cannon of Big Yama. And all of a sudden, Big Yama is shaking. And then from the inside, all this foam is coming out of him. And so Big Yama's defeated. Yama himself swims away. Okay, so he's going to be coming back. I mean, I do assume that Yama is going to be like a main villain at some point in the series. I mean, our main villain at this point is Obake, but I feel like sooner rather than later, Yama's going to be like the main villain. So, yeah. Afterwards, you know, the day is saved. We find out what was on the flash drive the whole time. It turns out that the chemistry lady that was teaching the kids is actually the true mastermind, and Nathan Fillion lookalike was basically taking all the credit. So yeah, he's like, you know what? It's time to tell the world the truth. You are the real genius. So that happens. We get just a split second of chemistry between Hiro and Carmi. And I mean, when I say split second, I mean split second. Because as Hiro walks up to her, he says, hey, what are you doing out here? And she says, oh, I already got in. I'm just relaxing, having some ice cream. And this weird boy, like, this boy is so weird. Like, he's just saying some weird stuff throughout the episode. He comes up and he says, these are lies. And then she says, I got kicked out. And then Hiro's like, sorry. And then they look at each other and smile at each other for literally a split second. And then they shrug it off like, that didn't happen. We're arch nemesis. And it was just so funny. It was so funny. And then we cut to later on where we see the chemistry lady, the real mastermind, and Hiro as they're walking down San Francisco Institution one night, or basically the school, and they're talking, and sorry, I'm itching where my foot is. I don't know why, but they're talking. Hiro's like, "Oh, I can't believe you're the mastermind the whole time. I was so wrong." And she's like, "Nah, it's okay. I was trained by this one true mastermind." And we find out that the mastermind, in terms of where she learned her stuff from, is the principal that's going over San Francisco right now. So go high school right now. Oh, man. I genuinely then once Hiro notices this, we see, well, before I talk about that, there is a reference to Tadashi's memorial, and I think that's really good because, you know, it confirms that that's canon. Because you know how some things appear where they appear in like the end credits of something, but they're not really canon. Well, it's good to know that that's actually canon, so that's good. But yeah, I'm just trying to find out who the principal's name is again. Let me see. I can't find it. It's the principal. And so Hiro's like, what? He's taken back by this. So he goes to this library. Obviously no one goes to it because there's like dust and cobwebs all over the place. And he looks in this old yearbook and sees a picture of her all young. He's like, why didn't she tell us about this? And now I'm gonna make a speculation video about this later on. But I genuinely don't know what to think about this in terms of my problem-solving mannerisms. You know, I genuinely don't know what to think about this. I mean, it's interesting. I want to see where it goes, but I genuinely don't know what to think about this. So, yeah, as it progresses, I'm going to look into it to see what this means. But in terms of like actual what could this really mean, I have no idea. So yeah. Overall, the episode was great. It didn't focus on the main storyline with Obake. It didn't really focus on that many things, but we did get to see more of Yama, which I thought was pretty awesome. We got to see more of the smarts dynamic, if you will, and I really like that. I really like this episode. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Peace.